This is Jack. Hey, let me make sure my mic's in the right spot. I want y'all to be able to hear me. That is preferable. Let me make sure. Yep. Okay. Cool. I can be heard. I'm not silent. That's the important thing. All right. Hey, we got an interesting rundown today. To kill time, I actually want to cover what I got in today. I got Chainsaw Man Volume 1 and Volume 2. Yes, I fully admit that I am jumping on the bandwagon. I don't care. You can judge me all you want. But I saw the first episode, enjoyed the concept, decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and watch this. I'm going to go ahead and watch this and read it. Because I do that with Demon Slayer too. Like, I watched the first season, I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And I've started reading it. I just got past the Swordsman arc. So I already know what happens. Like, people have a habit of ruining that stuff for me, which is not a problem. I don't have a problem with spoilers. Like, there are some games and stories I don't want you to do spoilers for. Like, what's a good example? I can do this, I swear. Like Zero Dawn, like Horizon Zero Dawn. I really would have been upset if you had ruined that ending or the ruined it for me because like I kind of guessed a lot of it, but you know it would still irk me. So either way, not a big deal. All right. I also had a genius moment, a very brilliant genius moment on how to actually do this. Actually, I still need to make like banners and stuff like that. I haven't done that, but I don't care right now. I found a really good way to like do my A block, B block, and eventually I'll start doing a C block, which because they'll be broken up into categories. Technically, C block is where I go into conversational mode. We just I'm starting to like have a conversation, preferably with the audience, but the audience said to be quiet right now, but that's fine. That's fine. So it'll be just like largely me ranting about topics. All right, I think I've stalled long enough. Let's get into the A block. First button. Are you not going to work? Oh, there it goes. Okay, cool. I also have to switch to this. All right. I did a short about this. I wanted to talk about it. This is actually a rather big deal to me. So, Amaranth, the number one female streamer, the number one female streamer on Twitch. Also, probably one of the. Apparently, she's also the top on OnlyFans. I honestly only found out recently she did OnlyFans. Cool. More power to her. She apparently makes like north of $1 million a month doing OnlyFans. Just OnlyFans. That's not her Twitch. That's not her deals. That's not important to this story. Just so you know that like this is a woman who has a lot of power in those fields. And she come out about how her husband, which by the way was a secret. She wanted to go public about it, but it was a secret that she had a husband. I'll get to that later. But she came out and that she's being abused and controlled by him. This is the reporting from Full Squad Gaming. I'm just going off of that. And I've seen the videos. Thought about sharing the video of her like breaking down, but like that is a heavy trigger warning I don't want to get into. And I know I'm opening up with a depressing story. I want to get past that and get to the really fun stuff. But anyway, her husband verbally abused her like nth level shit. Um, Threatening to kill her dogs. He has complete control over her bank accounts, like meaning he's the only one with the passwords, two-factor authentication, so she can't log in at all without him knowing. And anytime she tried to do something he didn't like, he threatened to spend her money on like garbage cryptocurrency, so it would be washed away. It would just be destroyed money. And he like would take like 10 million of her dollars and let her keep 1 million. Like once again, these are large numbers, and you're like, okay, cool, she's still got 1 million. But considering that she was being forced, like the stream she broke down on was a 24-hour stream, and he said to her, "You can't go to Disney because she, as rich as she is, she can't go on her own because he's controlling her unless you stream for 24 hours." Like he is the reason she was doing all that stuff, and she just kind of went with it. And like she talked in her conversation, she talks. I'm not going to go into the specific tweets in this one because I don't like physically showing the f bomb. Um, he was extremely like she goes over the classic exact steps of how somebody like first steps into a relationship and then becomes very abusive and they might back off and then start again. Um, like my heart goes out to her. And what pisses me off though is you have a couple people who have said some things I don't like about it. I'm gonna go ahead and back to big screen on this because the parts that are really getting to me is I'm gonna say it's part of the incel community. What really upsets me about it is you have these jerks We're going to say that. I have a lot worse terms, but we're going to say jerks. But basically, they're saying one, she lied to her community for years, pretending she was single. She just didn't talk about it. Her being single or not doesn't matter. You still donated money to her because you liked her content. Just because you thought, oh, if I donate 10,000 bits, she might date me. That's your own fault. You don't, and that's not part of the deal. It doesn't say anywhere in the description, hey, blah 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 blah. Or same with her OnlyFans. So there's that issue. And then some people are saying, well, it's her own fault. How? Like, yes, she made the mistake of dating the guy to begin with. You can make that argument, but it happens. Guys get into those kind of abusive relationships too, where a female is emotionally abusive and controlling and destructive. It happens. Is it his fault? Most of the time, I guarantee these guys would say, no, she tricked him. That's what happened with her. And the difference is the physical dynamic, that he is physically more powerful and can physically control her. So that stuff is really what pisses me off. And I just wanted to get that out of the way. I wanted to get the depressing stuff out of the way. My heart goes out to her. I really hope she lawyers up and gets help. Her community seems to be coming to her aid, and I love that. But we also have those, I'm going to keep saying it's the incels, assholes. And if you don't know what incel is, involuntarily celibate. They usually are pretty bad woman haters. They're like, women are only property, effectively. Like, they describe them as objects instead of people. So anyway, that's a longer conversation, not the purpose of this. We got that out of the way. Let's get to the next one. All right, I gotta shrink back down. Mortal Kombat announces a new role-playing game, MK Onslaught. At first, I was actually really excited about this idea. I was honestly excited. Like, yes! I actually liked Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero. I liked the Shaolin Monks one. I never actually played the one with Sonya Blade and Jax, so I can't judge that one. But I had fun with those. There was the Scorpion one, too. I can't remember that one. No, yeah, it was this. Anyway, the Scorpion one was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I had fun. So I'm like, cool, we're getting a new role-playing game. Hang on a second. There's one problem. Mortal Kombat Onslaught is set to reimagine the brutal franchise into a role-playing game. Announced by Warner Bros. Games, the upcoming new collection RPG is developed and co-published by NetherRealm Studios, which is responsible for a mainline game in the series, described as the first mobile-exclusive cinematic story experience for this franchise. Why does it have to be mobile? Like, mobile games are all right. Like, there are some really good mobile games. And there's some that have just done phenomenally well. Why does it have to be mobile? You're holding yourself back. It's like when you try to do a graphic intense game, but then throw it on the Switch. Like, the Switch is great. I love the Switch. But you have to understand the hardware limitations. Why? Like, Monster Hunter Rise is great. I love it. Monster Hunter Sunbreak, great. I love it. But it is severely held back because the PC port has to keep in line with the Switch port, so it's held back. It's not to World or Iceborne status that it could have been, because it has to keep on the same level as Switch. Like, seriously, come on, man. Like, NetherRealms, I feel, is like shooting themselves in the foot over this. Now, will I probably play it? Most likely. But it's probably also going to have paid content, which is one of the reasons I never played Diablo Immortal, but that's a longer rant. All right, next one. Oh, by the way, so what I'm doing is really proud of myself for setting it up. I have an A block, B block, which means, like, I'm not showing you all my desktop. I'm showing you specifically the pages I set up, and I can just push a button and switch to them. Like, I had that genius moment. It just made me so happy. I still need to make, once again, banners and stuff, but whatever. Let's go to the next one. All right. This one is another interesting one. So, you have the big Bayonetta actress. She did the role for the first two, and she's actually asking her fans to boycott this next game. I wasn't gonna play. I was tempted to play it, but because I'm like the Devil May Cry kind of genre game, they're kind of fun to me. But you know what? Yeah, she really helped make the first two games as awesome and as popular as they are. And they're like, oh yeah, like, we'll pay you $4,000 to return. Like, come on, she's worth more than that. Voice actors get paid a stupid amount more, especially if they're already a famous, like Jack Black being hired for the Mario movie. I can guarantee you broke $1 million easily. They could have easily forked over a couple extra thousand. And then it is an insult. Like, she straight up says it's an insult. Let's see, hang on. She actually does a good point right here. The Bayonetta franchise made approximately 450 million. 50,000? 100,000? They could have easily done that and not broke the bank. But no. Nah. Not a big deal. Go to the next one. This one's funny to me. Like, this is funny to me. Like, you have no idea why I giggle at this one. All right. How the gig economy inspired a cyberpunk video game. Okay, hang on a second. First off, when a genre is referred to as punk, it is counterculture. And depending on the and it's usually the loss of humanity through whatever the precursor word is. Steampunk is the loss of humanity through steam technology. Dieselpunk, same thing. Cyberpunk, loss of humanity through cybernetics. That's usually what the genre is. Now, punk also implies counterculture side of it. Usually, like in true cyberpunk stories, it's you rebelling against authority. Now, that's one of my problems with 2077. You tend to work more with authority than against it. So it's kind of the only people you really fight is Arasaka, which is annoying. Another conversation. So, usually, these also have a form of dystopian taste to them because of the nature of loss of humanity and really cool technology. So that the gig economy that was created, taken to its logical conclusion, becomes a cyberpunk environment, because we're looking into the future of a very bad environment, and you're talking like it's a good thing? Are you joking? Are you kidding me? Are we playing a game here? I'm going to take a sip of my coffee before I continue this. I feel better now. All right. Anyway, continuing on. This is not a good thing. Don't act like it's a good thing. Now, I know it's probably talking about it's talking about a very specific one, Citizen Sleeper, but like you can kind of line it up with any cyberpunk game, because whatever. All right, next one. Oh, good. Konami has come down from their heavens and decided we get a new game. Konami has a bad habit of like having these great franchises and going, this year we might release. No, we're not going to release a game on it. No. Hang on. Okay, well now we'll release it. They were about to do one with Hideo Kojima, which I would have loved. Hideo Kojima is a freak when it comes to his content, and I mean that in a good way. Like he did Death Stranding, Metal Gear. He's just a great content creator. Like I love the games he's done. His stories are off the wall crazy. Death Stranding. And the example of what it would have been was PT. And PT is so loved. People were spending thousands of dollars to buy a PlayStation 4 that still had it installed, because Konami wiped it from the store. So if you already had it installed, you can play it. But if you uninstalled it at any point, you would never get it back. So people were paying a shit ton of money just to play the playable teaser. Not even the full game. It was a concept video he had done. And that's why you see Norman Reedus eventually in Death Stranding, because he wanted to work with him. And now they're finally like, hey, we're going to release you a Silent Hills game. Possibly 3 of them. How does that make you feel? You should have done this earlier. Hang on, I'm going to go full rant mode here. They should have been releasing these games sooner. Like, yes, I do appreciate when companies take their time to craft a beautiful game. This game should have been in development already. The loss of Hideo Kojima should have been on an almost completed project, because the guy loves to multitask. While he was working on Metal Gear Solid 5, he could have been helping create the Silent Hills games, because that's what he would have done. He's crazy like that. But Konami, okay, glad they're finally doing something with Silent Hill. I'm not even a horror fan game, but Silent Hill is one of the big games, and we're seeing a lot of the big games getting new stuff. We're getting the Resident Evil Village expansion pack. We're getting the VR of Resident Evil Village. That's going to be awesome. Like, there's already mods you can do it with. I've tested them. I like them. But a straight VR one will be a lot better. I hope they bring Resident Evil 7's VR to PC. Because I'll eventually get the PSVR too. But I'd really love to play it. Now, once again, there's mods for all this. But motion sickness stuff can affect a lot of people. Me, it doesn't affect. I'm immune to it, thankfully. There's been a couple times that it fucks with me, but but we're seeing a lot of the resurgence of these, like the original horror games. In fact, there's actually supposed to be a Alone in the Dark game coming that's been showing a lot of promise, because the last one it was a co-op game, so you're not very alone in the dark, and had a lot of problems with it. But it looks like they're going to be doing somewhat of a remake of the original Alone in the Dark game, which is very Lovecraftian kind of horror. Which, by the way, I never could play. Like, it was just difficult. Like, I never understood what to do. Like, in a lot of these old games, they give you almost no context to what you're doing. You're supposed to figure it out. Good luck, have fun. All right, next one. I gotta shrink it down. There are hints, ponderings, possibilities of what we're gonna get for the DLC. Now, first, let's talk about the combat overhaul and all that stuff. Originally, FromSoft has a history of when they nerf something, it's on both sides, both PvE when you're versing monsters and PvP when you're versing other players. Player versus player, player versus everything. Kind of stands out. So, like, if in this example that they give in this article, which is really good, Rivers of Blood, when they nerfed it earlier, they nerfed it on both sides. So PvP, it was much weaker, but it also meant that the weapon that was really helping people like fight through millennia and all these other stuff, it was suddenly weaker. So people got upset, justifiably. I don't like the weapon. I don't like bleed weapons in that game because there's so many of them. Like Scarlet Rot weapons usually were Frost, a lot more interesting. Anyway. So now they're going to start nerfing on PvP and PvE separately, which I don't know if that means they're going to rewind some of the changes they did on PvE side. They probably won't bring Hoarfrost Stomp back to where it was before. So, quick spoilers, Hoarfrost Stomp used to be that you could just infinitely stagger people just by constantly using. In fact, actually one of the old gimmicks to beating Millennia, for instance, the hardest boss in the game, but arguably the hardest boss in the game, was just to keep spamming that ability because she couldn't do anything. And if you had your clone out, whatever the hell you want to call it, it would do the same thing too. It would just start mimicking you and just keeps doing the Hoarfrost Stomp, and eventually she would just die from it. Then you'd have to figure out how to do phase 2, because phase 2 is crazy. But one of the other things is the DLC. I'm gonna go ahead and full screen again. The hints for the DLC is, so people are digging through the codes of the update, and Zuli the Witch does a good job talking about it on her Twitter. His, I don't know. I'm gonna say her on her Twitter. And going through it, she actually explains like how things are written in the code, like how they're named, because you can name lines of code to determine what is what. This class of thing is this type of creature. All the dogs have the same classification. All the basic foot soldiers have the same classification, and then it'll break down into different tiers of different types. That's how the coding works. Now, she has gone in there and looked at it and says, wait a minute. This doesn't exist. This is new area. Hey, Gothic. This is new area. This is new content that's coming in. But it's not fully in yet. Like, so you can't see what it is, but it's new areas and stuff like that. So it's saying, hey, we're laying the groundwork for this DLC or expansion. So it doesn't tell us exactly what it is, but it gives us an idea of what that we're going to be doing. And some of the changes are involving the Colosseum. So early in the game, you can find a Colosseum, and there's just nothing. You can't do anything with it. You walk up to the door, nothing happens. And there's actually I think there's a second one that's behind the Great Jar Guy. I don't know if you count that one. But once again, you can clip in there. It's a finished area, but you can't do anything with it. There's no storyline with it. There's nothing. You do like one invasion on somebody just in front of it, but that's it. So they went to this trouble of building this Colosseum, and nothing happens. So they might. So a lot of people are theorizing that the DLC will involve that. It is possible because if you look at Dark Souls 3, there is the Ashes of Arndel where you go into the painting and stuff like that. There is an arena in it. Like, I actually found that out recently because I was doing my Dark Souls 3 playthrough and I stumbled across it. So that's a thing. So looks like we might be getting that expansion. I'm personally hoping for the idea that we deal with the Wastelanders, aka finding more about what Horaloo did, aka Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, when he was exiled. I'd love to see that because that was really cool. All right. Now we are going to actually hang on. I got to do this. Disable the A block. Let's go to the B block. This is a lot of fun. Like, I'm really glad I found like out how to do this. So B block is going to be the usual meme stuff. Some of it's just me having fun. Some of it's just really cool pictures I've stumbled across, and it means this gives me an excuse to just like dig through all my memes and go, hey, I like this one. I'll shrink me down so you guys get to see the pictures. All right, this one's on here for two reasons. One, cat stuff. I love kitties. In case you're not reading and you're listening to this later, Donut Operator, the Twitter person who did this. My cat is cuter than yours. Fight me. And then his follow up is, ha! My ruse was successful. Now I have hundreds of super cute animal pictures to look at them when I'm down. You stupid idiots fell right into my trap. So that alone I like. But then somebody did the perfect response to it. It's a red versus blue response. And that is what gives it bonus points, because I love red versus blue. We've been tricked. We've been backstabbed. And we're quite possibly bamboozled. I love it. That's like the best response you could have given it. Like, honestly. I love it. Here's you another one. Look at that kitty cat. That's what kitty cat toe beans look like. Oh, he's so cute. Go ahead and throw it in chat, and I'll hit it up in the C block section, which is just talking. And plus, I want to have a conversation. This is gonna be fun. You're gonna like it. Anyway, kitty cat toe beans. Look at that. He's a kitty cat. This is what they kind of look like when they're doing that bread loaf thing, where they're like just like a loaf. It's so cute. Yeah, damn it, James. Prepare for trouble and a dance. I'm wearing tights instead of pants. Like, Jesse and James are a whole nother creature. Like, I don't think they get enough love and respect when it comes to like the anime, especially they've never shown them in any live action adaptation. And who would even be able to play them, honestly? Like, we'd have to find some actor like who's like getting a big break. Although, no, I don't even think Tom Holland would be able to pull it off. Like, you would really need like a young Neil Patrick Harrison when he stopped caring would have done a great job, but I think he's too old for the role now. So it would be very difficult. So, but I love that. That's just so funny for me. All right, this is a really cool picture. And no, I'm not cutting off the top of the picture. That's actually how it is. So Resident Evil Village, great game, love it. Lady Dimitrescu, terrifying, also terrifying. But I love the fact that they turned it into a Powerpuff Girl crossover. Like, you can't argue this is not funny. You got the three daughters, might as well. All right. For those who don't understand Doctor Who, this is Matt Smith. Matt Smith is the 11th Doctor / 12th Doctor, depending on how you count the War Doctor. Long conversation. But anyway, he's holding a piece of psychic paper. Psychic paper can technically look like whatever you want it to look like, but it works in a very specific way. So if I were to say to you, I am authorized to be here, and I hand it to you, you will see it as what you think is authorized to be there. So you might see it as a police badge. You might see it as an FBI agent badge, or whatever. That's an interesting thing to talk about. So in this situation, because Matt Smith, this is the only time he ever uses the psychic paper. Literally the only time. David Tennant spammed it. His predecessor, Chris Eccleston, spammed it. He only used it this one time. Are you really a babysitter? I think you'll find I'm universally recognized as a mature and responsible adult. It's just a bunch of wavy lines. Yeah, it's shorted out. Finally, a lie too big. Yeah, Matt Smith's doctor like has his moments where you realize how old he is, but most of the time he's just very kid-like, and it's very funny. Like, can't drink milkshakes without his special straw, stuff like that. If you haven't seen Doctor Who, I do recommend it. You can pick it up wherever you want. Doesn't matter. There's new Who, there's old Who. It's good. You're gonna enjoy it. And one of the rules I'm gonna warn you about. Full screen for this one. One of the rules with Doctor Who I'm going to warn you about, whenever a new doctor takes over, people hate them immediately for a long time, and then they'll start loving them. Happened with David Capaldi, happened with Matt Smith, and it pseudo happened with David Tennant. Because Chris Eccleston was only there for one season, so no one really got a chance to enjoy him as much. All right. This one's going to involve me doing some voice acting, so I do apologize. Now, let me get rid of the one behind it. What? Yeah, of course Bruce Wayne is Batman. I mean, obviously, right? Wait, you mean you guys didn't know? I figured that like on the first day. You're joking, right? Penguin, you will know when I am joking. Seriously, no one else figured it out? No one? Just me? You guys are dumbasses. Okay, if Bruce Wayne is the Batman and you knew this whole time, why not just kill Bruce Wayne? Because I'm not fighting Bruce Wayne. I'm fighting Batman. Obviously. God damn it, I hate you so much. So fucking much. I literally taste how much I hate you. And it's my best Joker impression. Hope it passes muster. And we got the last one before we go into some of our fun, comment section conversations. Which, Gothic was nice to bring one up. I love this picture. Just a really, like, for some reason, muscular Jesse. I don't know why. I enjoy it. Like, spoilers, I actually do like women who have muscle on them. I have a lot of preferences, but that's another conversation. And just the idea of, like, some of the shit she does, I would imagine she'd be in great shape. But I love also, like, the art style of this picture. It feels like very much more like a punk version of the character. Like, you see the tattoo of Ekans? No, Ekans is the pre-evolution. I forget the name of the evolution. It's like Cobra backwards or something. Anyway, but no, I love this. I love this version of her because it really feels like a punk version of the character, and I really do enjoy it. I don't know who the artist is. It's not in the picture. If you know who they are, please tag them or whatever so I can give them the proper credit in the next stream. So, all right. That's it for the A block and the B block. Now we got some conversation going. I will start with Gothics after I take a sip of coffee. I'll get to watch me drink coffee. Delicious. All right. So Gothic brought up the topic that Apex Legends is getting a new legend. That's true. I read about it. That was kind of cool. I don't know what their abilities are. I don't even know if they've been announced yet. But they're having the character come out as already transgender. That's part of their story. Okay. Like, to me, okay. I don't care. Like, so as a writer in my own way, if a character is LGBTQ, I don't like making it a central part of the character. Like, feeling the need to announce it's trans is one thing. Like, you don't need to do that. But when you release the story and then you do it, that's fine. So, like, I'll use Overwatch because I know that lore a bit better. They initially said Tracer's lesbian. Like, they came out and said, yeah, she's lesbian. What they should have done is just, when they released the comic, because they did, and showed her with her girlfriend, and just not brought it up, not made a deal of it. Because if a company comes out, and this is to me, if a company comes out and says, this character's transgender, and makes a deal of it, then it feels like they're doing it just so they can get the brownie points of, yay, we're doing inclusion stuff. But if they just go, no, this is just part of the character's story of them, like, dealing with HRT or whatever, because they all have stories like that, cool. Or you just show flashbacks where they were a guy or girl originally, and then you show their current version and they're not. You can do stuff like that. You don't have to show them nude or anything like that, obviously. But you can, like, especially with, like, a comic book character, you can talk about, like, there was actually a comic, I don't have it anywhere, unfortunately, but if I find it, I'll bring it up. It was, I'll bring that one up too. That's actually kind of fun. They brought up, like, I think it was during the Incredibles. It was supposed to be a part of the Incredibles universe. Like, she had a power, she was a hero, but she was also working as a barista, and she just didn't have enough money she had to decide between eating sometimes and her HRT as she was transitioning. And she was helping Miss Incredible at one point, and Miss Incredible goes, nah, that's not good. Mother instincts kick in. You're moving in with us. And, like, her kids immediately love the female superhero. And like, that's how you tell that story in a comic book, especially. You can tell the story that way, where it's not the only time it becomes a centerpiece is when their lifestyle provides issues, like how they deal with Peter Parker and having trouble with rent. You do the same thing. Like, yes, it exists, it's a thing. So yeah, that's how, as a writer, I feel these conversations should be done. And Gothic brought up Soldier 76, like a year or two after the game came out. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, Soldier 76 is gay. They just brought it out of nowhere. Like, no comic book had mentioned it or even hinted. It's just like, oh yeah, by the way. Like, I was talking about Velma coming out as LGBTQ. I'm like, yeah. Like, that's like saying Shaggy doesn't smoke pot. Like, really? And then people will point to the movie and say, well, she had a boyfriend in that one. Originally, she didn't. The director and writers wanted her to have a girlfriend, and I can't remember the owners, Paramount, whatever, said, no, not allowed to have that. No. So anyway, Soldier 76 came out as gay, out of nowhere. And then one of my favorite responses was some people in the LGBTQ community came out and said, we as gay do not accept him because he wears socks with sandals. So I love that. Was actually probably my favorite response. I absolutely loved it. For those who missed it earlier, I got my manga in. I'm reading Chainsaw Man. I really enjoyed the first episode. The second episode's out now, so I'll be watching it. So if you I'll probably talk about it a few times at some point, and yes, I am jumping on the bandwagon after the anime. I literally just admitted it. I actually just finished the Swordsman arc, the Swordsman Village, Swordmaker Village arc of Demon Slayer, and now they're going into where they're training with the Hashira, which is like this part right before the Infinity Castle arc, which is the final stretch. So that'll be good. All right. Before I go into my next rant, I do want to bring this up, which means I do have to share my direct display, which I don't like doing. Let me lower all those up. All right. I'm just going to show you all this. Epic's got a pretty interesting sale going on. I am going to shrink myself. There we go. And then I should be able to go in here, display capture. Don't know which one that's going to be. Let's find out. Hang on. Filters. And it's the right one. No, it's the wrong one. Switch to the other one. Haha! I'm being the smart. We're going to move. I just got to move this up here. There we go. All right. So Epic's got some pretty good sales going on right now. I'm not trying to sell for them or anything. I just like people being able to catch these deals when they're coming on. Like Days Gone is on sale. This is an older game. Dying Light 2, which is fairly new, is on sale. It's just like their Halloween sale going on. Right now, Darkwood is free. I don't know if you know Toe Jam and Earl, but Darkwood is free. But the important part that I wanted to bring up, Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition is free on the 20th, which is in a couple days. The reason why this is a big deal is because when Epic Games, when they're doing these free games, you pick them up, it goes through a purchase thing, it's yours. It's not free for those 7 days. It's yours. So I'm a very big proponent of just going in here like, oh, I do like this game. I'll eventually play it. I have a lot of games that I don't play, but I have them. Like, I decided to go back and actually play BioShock Remastered because, spoilers me, I've never played BioShock. I know the lore, I know what happens, but that's one of the things I do like that Epic does. So, turn off my display. So I don't like sharing that screen. That's why I figured out how to do the other thing. All right. So this is a conversation. If you got some thoughts, I would love to see them in the comment section, but here's what I got to say. I actually want to make a whole separate video for this. There are some things as gamers we're going to have to accept, and there are some things that we are going to have to choose to reject and fight. One of the things that I feel that we have to accept is day one patches. And the reason for that, go ahead and put the question in chat. The reason for that is because there is such a length of time between going gold and release. Going gold means the game is considered finished in release. Now, the game could have been listed as going gold, and then they found things and they need to fix them, which require big patches. Going gold also means when they start sending them out to stores, because remember, people still buy physical stuff. Not everything's digital. So, with that said, we have to accept that there is going to be a day one patch. It sucks, but I would very much rather developers catch problems early, especially if there's security problems, because that's come up a couple times. Now, what we don't have to accept on this are, as an additional part, server issues on launch. Because one of the things... Hey, Cool Walker. We're in the conversational phase. You got questions, you got things you want to talk about, go ahead. If you have comments, what I'm talking about, throw it in the chat. Server issues on launch. When I say server issues, like what happened with Overwatch, it had a stupid large thing. Now, it was also under DDoS attack. And I understand. I got it. It's fine. I understand. And I think as game developers, gamers, we need to somewhat accept this. Now, if the problem persists beyond a week or two, then it becomes a problem. Then we can choose to say, nah, we're good. We don't need this. Now, when I say day one patches, I'm not talking what happened to Cyberpunk. I'm talking day one patches when you get in, and the game works fine, but it had this massive patch when you jumped in. And it's because the time between going gold and um, being able to download it and all that stuff, there is the chance they found stuff. So I think we need to learn to accept that. Now, on to the next part. Another thing we have to accept, and parts that we don't. Battle passes. Battle passes, even in games you bought, are fine. I'm actually perfectly fine with them. Even if there's a premium side, I'm actually fine with it. Now, here's where my problem comes in. If the battle pass, like this is how I would prefer. Here's my dream version of battle pass for a paid for game. You have a battle pass. As you play, you get more stuff. Okay? That's fine. No premium side though. The only thing you can pay for is to advance further into the tree. And the reason you do that is you're someone who just can't play much, but you do want the later stuff. Cool, fine. That's fine. And then you just don't have a premium side. However, if you're playing a game like Warframe, or I'm assuming First Descendant's going to have it, and Overwatch, where it's a free-to-play game, 100% free. There's very few things to unlock except for cosmetic stuff. Go ahead, have a premium pass, charge me $10, $20 for it. Fine, it's a free game. I can put as much in or as little in as I want. That's going to be a fun conversation. Um, so that is my thought process. Now, microtransactions, in my opinion, there are some that I'm okay with. There's some I'm not. You pay to win, pay to level up faster. No. Unless the game is 100% free. Like I feel Warframe does it best. You can pay for an affinity booster or an XP booster or a drop rate booster as much as you want. Um, but also the premium currency you would spend to get it can be traded within game. Because it's able to be traded in game, effectively anything that would be locked under premium currency can be earned and unlocked. You would just get the things that people want to trade for and then go from there. That's the best way to do it. But then if you do it, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think, was the big culprit. And I want to say Marvel's Avengers, where they locked a long ass grind for you to advance. Or you can pay $20 and get like a 50% speed boost on XP. That's not good. That's not fine. Even and especially I don't like pay to win mechanics. Like that's not what I'm talking about. When I'm talking uh I just lost the word. Anyway, extra content, whatever. The ones I'm okay with is like, hey, and I do this all the time with actually Warframe, or I've done it. Hey, there's this cosmetic skin I want that looks pretty cool. Cool, I'll fork her over like $5 for it. I don't care. Why? Because it's been a free to play game, and I've sunk hundreds of hours into Warframe and do not regret it. So that's where I'm okay with it, where it's purely cosmetic. I don't like it when it's a character that's locked behind it. Now, We Need to Go Deeper did a good job with how they did it. We Need to Go Deeper, you can get a sub and it costs money. However, the only reason it cost money outside the game was because it was for charity. Every dollar made from that DLC went to charity. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with those examples. The last part that I feel this is a no-go. We should not accept this. We should straight not accept this. And of course, it's EA I'm going to use as an example. Gothic will vouch for me on this one. Which part? Because I actually did a topic about Mortal Kombat making a mobile game earlier. You missed it. Grr. Anyway. EA releases the same game every year. Now, you could argue Call of Duty is the same way, but each game in Call of Duty is inherently different. Like with the feel sometimes, and sometimes in the single player story it's given, it's inherently a different game. The mechanics are usually roughly the same. Like they could probably use the same operating software in the background is the same, but the game is still tweaked enough that it feels different. That it would be more than just an expansion or DLC. That's a good one. That'll be talked about. Actually, I think that fits with my previous part with like characters being locked behind a paywall. It sucks, and I also don't like it where like yes, you can unlock it from playing a lot, or in a lot, or pay for it. Like I don't like that either. Warframe does it, but Warframe's a 100% free game. Anyway, So EA releases the same game, like not even a joke, same game. Like the only difference between some of these games is literally a skin. They throw a skin over it, change some of the characters out. How I feel EA should do it with, like, say Madden. We'll work with Madden. How I feel they should do it is they should release a game. We'll say it's Madden 2000 for an example. Madden 2000, and they put everything they can into making a good football game. And then for the next 4 or 5 years, however long they feel they need to make a proper sequel, they just add an expansion or DLC, and they can and they could charge you $30 for it instead of 50 or 60, but $30, and it gives you all the new players for the next year and alternate versions of the players for the next year, because players sometimes get better or worse by season, and you can do that to carry over. And that allows you to keep the servers up, because that's one of the things EA will do. They'll release 2000 and then close down the servers for 2019, so you'll have to buy 2000. Or 2020 is what I meant, not 2000. That was pretty bad. Anyway. So I feel that they should do that. And then for the next 5 years, they are developing the next version of it. And then they repeat that cycle. I think that's how these games should be done. I don't think us as gamers should accept them just doing it over and over and over again. In fact, actually, EA does even worse. They triple dip. Not only do they do that where they just reskin, they'll release legacy versions for like Switch and stuff where it's the same game just with the new character switched out. It's literally 2019 or literally 2020, just the characters are switched out. So that's an issue. Now, we don't have to accept games being super buggy. We don't have to accept all that. Mortal Kombat, we'll see how they do. We don't have to accept Blizzard's Diablo Immortal bullshit, where it was either like 100 years to max out a character, or like $1,000 or something. It was like some ridiculous amount of money. Oh, and I've already mentioned this before, but we don't have to accept like EA Sim 4, where it's like $1,000 for all their DLCs, and that's probably with some of them on discount. We don't need to accept that as gamers. So that's that rant. Do you guys not have phones? I I have phone. It's right there. It's being my monitor for this. I just refuse to play Diablo Immortal for that. I play like Marvel Strike Force, and I have sunk some money into it a couple times, but it's because usually like with Gambit dropping specifically, because I'm Cajun. It's gonna happen. I'm part Cajun. And what was the other one you brought up? Oh, the Persona Royal 5 thing. So they've done that every time that game drops. They're like, upon release, you're not allowed to stream it. And people are going to stream it. It's going to happen. People are going to stream it. But they're not the only ones who have ever done that. Square Enix did it also with the Final Fantasy Dark Souls game, where they said, you can stream the whole game, just not the ending. And the reason why I'm okay, like, I understand why they're like that with Persona 5 versus that Final Fantasy game, is because Persona 5 Royal is so story intensive. They don't want to spoil it for people. It's like people who like stream Event Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, that's fine. Like, it's such an epic game that it's fine to do, and the developers were cool with it. But the story for it is just so mind-blowing and epic, if it takes a lot out of it if somebody tried to play it later. So I understand, I get it. I personally would ignore it. I'm not going to stream Persona 5 because that's not a game I stream. I'm going to play it. I have it on my PlayStation. But I really do feel it's just them splitting hairs. We're seeing that with a lot with game developers, where they're either all in on helping streamers, they're all in and loving it, or screw those streamers, we don't want them. Now there's some games by default you can't stream. Like, you can't stream. I think it's called Forbidden Metal, but that's because all the music is copyrighted, and like every level would get copyright striked. I tried to do it at one point. That's what happened. Because you see like Doom, none of their music's DCMA, and they don't care. And there are even some games who are like, here's streamer mode, where it'll hide names of other players or whatever, or it'll censor things that might get you in trouble. Like, I would love it if they did that as a patch for Cyberpunk 2077 for anybody who's trying to play that game, and say, hey, I'm a streamer, here are the things. Like, they intentionally make a patch that would hide anything that would get them in trouble on streaming. Yeah, that. And oh, I have one more topic I got to cover now. This is just funny. You just made me think of, because Doki Doki Literature made me think of Markiplier, and there's a great story behind that. I got to talk about it now. Thanks, Gothic. I love you so much. Um, and then like Samurai Jack, they said if anybody gets hit with a copyright strike because the opening uses the original theme song, let us know. We'll give you the pass for it. We don't care. Play our game. Um, so like there's a big division between content creators, and I feel the really smart game developers are going, please play our game, please stream it, because people will see the logic behind the ones who are against it are like people are going to see this game, and because they saw somebody else play it, they already know the gameplay but mechanics behind it and don't want to play it themselves. I feel like that only works if your game sucks to begin with, because a good game, even if it's a narrative driven story, people are going to play it themselves. Even horror games, like some people will watch other play, like I will never play a FNAF game ever. One, I don't like the developer, but two, I just don't like horror games. Like there's a handful of horror games I will play. Dead Space, love it. Um, but I won't play. But I generally don't play them in VR. I will occasionally because I'm usually not scared of horror games, but in VR it gets me. I really hope someone makes a mod for Dead Space to be in VR. That would be so epic. All right, because Gothic reminded me. I kind of want to pull it up, but I don't want to. I'm not going to. Yeah. Markiplier, the Markiplier, Marky Moo, has said he is going to make an OnlyFans. I'm not joking. Hang on, there's more to this story. He said he will do it under two conditions. His podcast, Distractable, has to reach #1 on Spotify and Apple. Number two, the other podcast he's involved with has to become the #1 sports podcast for at the same time. So it's like a very fine-tuned thing. And the details is all money made from that OnlyFans will go to charity. Now, for further context, he's done this before. Not OnlyFans. He made a calendar. I think it was called Tastefully Nude Calendar, and all the money went to charity. And he signed all like 30,000 that were made. So, I'm sitting here looking at like stories of Dream controversies, like not only for his speed running thing that happened, but now there's stories coming out that he might have been a groomer, which that story's a little off because the girl was like 16 and he was 19. So it's like not really, but yes, technically. We could split hairs on that one. So you have that. You have what's going on with I just forgot her name and I talked about her a moment ago. No, it's down, so it won't let me. Hang on. No, not that. There it is. Amaranth. There it is. Amaranth. I couldn't remember her name. Like we have what's going on with Amaranth. We have all this other controversy. I have never heard of a controversy with Markiplier ever. I have never once heard a story of him being abusive to fans. I've never heard of him doing something inappropriate. And then you have like PewDiePie who gets it all the damn time because of like him accidentally intentionally making Nazi jokes. Jacksepticeye, I've not heard anything either. So you have like these these two really wholesome. Unless y'all know something I don't. I've just never heard Markiplier do anything wrong, and almost everything he does goes to charity. In fact, if you go to his Spreadshirt and buy a shirt, he doesn't get a dime of it. It goes to charity, and he changes what the charity is once a month. And he inspires the hell out of me to be a great content creator because like he just makes this wholesome content this great, and he's just this great guy. Like yes, this content sometimes adult. Does he make adult jokes? Yes. But does he also do a video where he's like wearing, what was it, like 30 shirts, 40 shirts at a time, and he had like to see if he could put them all on? Yes. So um he's someone to definitely respect. But you have like I've just never heard of a controversy with him. Like unless I'm missing something. All right. Last call for questions, comments, concerns, manga suggestions, anime suggestions. What's your favorite food? Ways to improve what I'm doing? I don't know. None? All right. Last thing I'll end up on is actually I'm going to pull up another cute picture since I'm already here. We're gonna put it on the toe bean one real fast. Look at that! Look at the toe bean. This is so adorable. All right, I feel better. I thank everybody for being here. I want everybody to take care of themselves. I want everybody to strive to just better yourself in some way. Work out. It doesn't have to. So work out, learn a new language, do something to improve your life, and it could be something that might be trivial, like learn to beat that Dark Souls boss better. I don't care. Do something that makes you happy and you feel makes you a better person in some way. It could be something in a video game. It could be in real life. I don't care. Just strive to be better, and I believe you can. All right. See ya.